Well, good morning, everybody. Thank you so much for your guys' patience. We're just trying to log into one of our presentations for Canva. We'll go ahead and talk about TRiO student support services. If anybody has any questions, feel free to interrupt me. I'm here to be able to answer as best as I can. To introduce myself, my name is Christopher, but you guys can call me Chris. I like to say that I just feel like Christopher is just too formal for me, so Chris is totally fine. Let me go ahead and go on to the other slide. So as of right now, we have our director, Ben Reynoso, as many of you might know him, our other counselor as well, Hersuka Raj, he goes by Suk, our student aide, Nali Vang, and then myself for TRiO. And we are located above the bookstore, above the rampart tree. We're in-house with psychological services, which they tell us that we're gonna move pretty soon to OAB. Student support services in the basement pretty soon. So we might change that location. So essentially the history of the TRiO program, we are here to help students that are first generation low income. We are essentially just trying to strive to end poverty within the civil rights. That was mainly the motive of creating the TRiO program within the federal grants of education. Ultimately, our civil goal is to be able to mold students to be able to live within our day-to-day society. Also, one of our key components is providing academic counseling, also like kind of like a one-stop shop where we also do provide FAFSA and DREAM Act assistance, which we'll get into in a bit. TRiO does not necessarily really stand for, it's not like acronym for anything, it's just the branches. We are part of like Upward Bound, Talent Search, and for student support services. The way that I like to kind of break it down to our students that get confused, Upward Bound is mainly something that starts in high school. And that's when we start kind of exposing them to higher education. And so essentially we do have counselors such as Suleiman and Marquisha that are in-house with us, but they mainly go to the high schools that are selected to start prepping students up to kind of exposing to higher education. We don't necessarily tell them like, oh, come to Fresno City. Like we don't promote that. We just essentially promote higher education itself. And that's where Talent Search and Upward Bound come into. And then TRiO, SSS, that's where we come into higher education. So most of the times we do get students that just say, you know what, I just want to stay local. I want to stay within Fresno City College. And then they're automatically accepted into our program just because they're a part of Upward Bound, just because we already have the same requirements of being first generation or low income. And I like to emphasize OR because not all students have to meet all three criteria, which is disability, low income, and first generation. Awesome. So eligibility for TRiO, the most obvious thing for us here is enrolled in FCCC. Also must be first generation or low income or disability. Like I mentioned earlier, we don't identify disability. If a student tells us that they've already have a disability, obviously we do refer them to DSPS here on campus if they haven't heard about them. We do take the liberty to walk the students across campus and show them the building. We tend to do that a lot. We take them to like tutorial services, also to financial aid or FAFSA once we get stuck. And we feel like we aren't able to assist them, we do walk them over to the financial aid office or also the pantry, because a lot of students essentially don't know about all these services. So we try to connect them as best as we can. Here, there's an image of students that we had Chalk It Up. It's an event where they have like chalk and then they just try to draw like motivational quotes on the sidewalk. And we use that as a workshop. So we do ask our students to participate in our workshops. We do try to provide food for our students. I'm tired of meionettes, but we're trying to work on that to get different foods. So essentially our objective here for our program is that we do serve 160 students. We do acknowledge and recognize that most of the students do either graduate, transfer out each semester, or also do not return. So we do have an open year application. I get a lot of questions. The same question that gets asked a lot is, oh, is there an application deadline or opening? Not necessarily. We always ask students to apply throughout the whole academic year because we do have students that, like I mentioned, transfer, graduate, or just don't return to school. We do try to have a 2.0 or higher, obviously for academic reasons like academic probation, but for our program, we do ask them to have a 2.7 or higher. Also, we do try to provide that like academic reinforcement. We do try to check up on our students. We always send them emails. They probably get annoyed of me already. They probably don't want to even hear the name Chris. But it's just for us to show them support as best as we can. I know that it takes up to a community to help one student out to perform academically. We also try to have our students to either pursue a degree or a certificate, or also to transfer. So we do have also essentially a TRiO program at other CSUs or UCs. So we connect them to those CSUs or UCs, and obviously they're automatically accepted into the program. One thing that I'd like to know is that each program does have their own deadlines. I can only speak for Fresno City College. However, we connect them to that counselor at that TRiO. Awesome. We do have what is called a open door policy. Essentially, we do get a lot of students that recommend their friends to us. Sometimes some students don't necessarily qualify for a program at the moment, but they tend to later on do qualify due to their GPA. Or another thing too is that we like to emphasize that we do have an open door policy that also gives us the opportunity to recruit more students to our program. So we do tend to sometimes help students that are not necessarily part of our program, but since we do have offer general counseling, we do provide them that assistance as well. Or sometimes with FAFSA or DREAMACT. We do also do referrals to other TRiO programs, like I mentioned before, other academic programs that are on campus as well, which Lupita will talk about more. We do refer some students to the Dream Center if they never heard about the Dream Center. And another thing that I'd like to mention is there's this pilot program called P3 for TRiO, where we're able to assist students that are classified as undocumented. We do provide them assistance through the TRiO program now with that. We've been trying to promote that a lot. And so we've been trying to recruit students that also classify under that category. We do a lot of letter of recommendations, students that apply for other support programs on campus or other support programs once they transfer to other CSUs or UCs. So they use us as that. And we try to offer them also any internships or job referrals that we hear about within the community. We also refer our students to that as well. We try our best to be intentional with our counseling services with the students. We try to kind of build that rapport with the students so they can show up to our workshops. So we don't have any me and Eds left over. We do try to have that consistent service with our students. If I could mention as well, sometimes some students do get comfortable with us that want to meet with us every once a week, which is awesome. But sometimes we're just trying to give our services to all our 160 students that we can, or also all those other students that fall through the cracks and don't have all the services that the campus offers. Awesome. So many students is like, oh, like, what is your program about? Why is it that I should be part of your program? Essentially, we do provide financial literacy workshops. We'll collaborate with EECU. We'll have a representative from them, and they'll do like a workshop on credit, on loans. I mean, when I was 18 or 19, I didn't really know much about finances. So a lot of students actually show up to that workshop. I think I had like 40 students show up to that workshop. So it's a pretty popular workshop. We do offer our workshops in person or virtual. We do acknowledge that some of our students have full-time jobs or are parents already, or just many hats that they might have to occupy. So we try to best accommodate to their schedules. We do offer college campus tours. This past year, we went to UC Santa Cruz, which was pretty awesome. We do also help students with CSU apply. This year, we're trying to either aim for UCLA or CSU. We'll see how that goes. We do offer party registration, career planning, financial advising, and we do offer first of the year and end of the year like a scholarship event. First of the year, we try to welcome all our students into the semester. We tell them about the tutorial services, all the services that are available to students on campus. And then by the end of the year, we do require our students to show to our workshops or meet with us at least twice throughout the academic year so they can qualify for our scholarship. So like I mentioned earlier, student requirements, we do ask our students to have a 2.7 GPA, meet with us twice throughout the academic year, attend the mandatory SSS. We call it the SSSP kickoff event for the fall semester. It's going to be the 21st for this month. And also to check my bombarding emails. It's just that I do get a lot of students like, oh, I didn't get your email, Chris, or you didn't tell me about it. You know how those students try to call us out on it. I'm like, hey, just check your emails. I probably sent an email about it. And then they do, and they're like, oh, it's because I don't really check it. I'm like, that's one of the requirements to check your emails. So we do have a Instagram page for our TRiO program. I'm trying to be as best as I can social media active for our TRiO program. Also, our office number is on there. If you guys meet with students that you guys believe that meet our requirements for our program, please feel free to recommend them to myself or also her Sukaraj Rai. We're here to be able to help our students the best way we can. To be completely transparent, these first 2 weeks, we do have just walk-ins. Because the last year I noticed that I met with like so many students and I couldn't even catch my breath. And so now we're just kind of doing like a first come, first serve basis where we're having students just come and walk in. So yeah, that's the best way to connect with us and be able to just get as many students that essentially maybe didn't meet the deadline for EOPS or probably didn't meet the qualifications for FYE. They can most definitely use us as a third back burner for support. Awesome. And then here's one of our students. She was actually part of Upward Bound in high school, and then she became a TRiO SSS student. She was actually one of our student aides for our office, and so she is finally transferring over to Santa Barbara. Pretty excited for her. And then for that QR code, if you guys would love to take a picture, that's just our online application. We do have students we have students to just apply online, or we have physical paper copies at our office as well. I'll give you guys some time to either take a picture or scan it. Any questions for me so far? I had a student once tell me like, oh yeah, I've met with etc. counselor and he was talking so fast to me. And so now I try to keep that consciously and I'm like, okay, let me slow it down. I haven't even drank coffee yet, just that perspective. But I just try to like see clarification and also ask the student, like, I know this is overbearing information that I'm giving you, but you need all this information. Awesome. Then I'll go ahead and hand it over to Guadalupe Garcia.
Okay. Well, good morning, everyone. My name is Lupita Garcia. I am the counselor coordinator for the Dream Center here at Fresno City College. So before we start, please raise your hand, even if you're through Zoom. Have you ever been to the Dream Center? Okay, very good. Thank you. No? Do you guys, okay. I see a hand on Zoom.
Okay, right.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for those that have been able to go to the Dream Center, and those who have not been to the Dream Center, I open an invitation to you. It's a really nice space. It's a very welcoming space. And we have worked really, really hard to make it very welcoming for our students so they feel comfortable and they feel safe once they open that door. So today I'm going to be talking a little bit about the services that we provide at the Dream Center. But before I move on with that, I want to say that Chris, he used to be at the Dream Center. Yes. He interned at the Dream Center, and then he worked for us for a year, and then he transitioned to the SSS TRiO program. So I'm very happy that we are working on this together. So who is the Dream Center? This is our team. Sorry. Okay. So this is the Dream Team, right? We always joke around like, oh, this is the Dream Team. So at the Dream Center, we have grown a lot. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how the Dream Center started, but we have our director, Daniel Tamayo. Myself, Guadalupe Garcia, which there's a typo right there on my title, but I am the counselor coordinator. And then we have 3 adjunct counselors, Maria Teresa, Silvina, and Ana. So all of us are here to assist our students and to help them and guide them through this academic journey. I'm going to minimize it, right? It's easier. Okay, so just a little bit about the Dream Center history. The Dream Center actually opened back in 2015. So next year we're going to be in our 10th-year anniversary. So when the first center first opened, it was with the purpose to provide information and academic counseling to new and continue undocumented students at Fresno City College. And the Dream Center first started with 2 adjunct counselors whose focus was to assist students with challenges so they may successfully complete their educational journey. So the Dream Center, for those that have been at the Dream Center right now, like I said, we have a really nice space. We're very grateful to have that space for our students. But when they first started back in 2015, they were actually sharing office with two other programs. So there was about, I believe, 6 counselors sharing the same space. And it was I don't know, have you guys ever been at the international office? Okay, so you can imagine right there, it's a very small office and you can picture about 6 people working in the same office and, trying to help students and think about confidentiality and all that stuff. So right now, like I said, we're very grateful that we have this amazing space at the Dream Center. And not too long ago, we actually, I think it was 2022, 2023, that's when we were able to hire a 3rd adjunct counselor. And I just came on board in April of this year as a full-time counselor. So as you can see, the Dream Center has grown for the benefit of our students. So who do we serve at the Dream Center? So the majority of the students served at the Dream Center are identified as a Dreamers Deferred Action for Childhood Arrival, which is known as the DACA, or students who are seeking the AB 540 status. So a lot of students and even some faculty and staff and they have reached out to us and said, oh, how do the students qualify? Or even the students themselves, how do I qualify to be at the Dream Center? One thing that I always like to emphasize is that the Dream Center is a service, it's not a program. So anybody can benefit from the Dream Center. Yes, our main focus is to reach out and to help the students who are undocumented. However, we don't ask for immigration status, right? So anybody who comes to our office and they need help, we will assist them. But there's also some misinformation out there that said, well, it's only for undocumented students. But undocumented means a lot of things, right? So we also help other students with different situations. For example, students who are with the TPS status right now, or students who are in a U or T visa, students who are with asylum status, students who are with refugee status. So we've seen students from all backgrounds. So lately we have seen a lot of students coming from South America, from Ukraine, that have been seeking our students, our services. So what is the life of an undocumented student? So this is not all of our students, but majority of our students come from a first generation students. They come from a low income family and community as well. They are vulnerable student population. Why? Because political and economically disadvantages. We have to understand when a student is undocumented, they don't have the same opportunities as many other students to look for a job, right? Like on campus, outside of campus, they are very limited on the jobs that they can obtain. So limited access to federal support programs. Unfortunately, they cannot qualify or apply for federal funded programs. However, like Chris mentioned before, TRiO is in a pilot program. Pilot program.
Yes.
Right now, where they are accepting undocumented students, and they are a federal funded program, but there are also limitations to that. But that's a big step for us and for our student population. And any encounter with authorities could end in deportation. So they are always with that fear of what would happen if something, if I encounter, I have an encounter with an authority, right? So some of the misconceptions of dreamers, and this happens all the time and it's completely fine, but that's why we are here, to get this knowledge, to inform ourselves, and then we could potentially continue sharing this information with other people outside. So some of the misconceptions is that the assumption that all students are DACA recipients. Unfortunately, no, not all students are DACA recipients. Not all students qualify for DACA, and I'll explain a little bit about what DACA means. Students who have an accent or who do not speak English are undocumented. That's also not true, right? And this happens a lot in our office. We have a lot of students coming into our office because they're being sent from the different departments, different offices, because they couldn't help them or they didn't take the extra time to try to figure out how to help the students. So they just sent them directly to the Dream Center, assuming that they are dreamers, right? Using the term illegal for dreamers, that's another big one that we hear this very often. Instead of using the word illegal, why don't we use the word dreamers, right? And the students identify themselves as dreamers. They don't want to be called illegal or sometimes undocumented. Other people had the misperception that, oh, because you filled out the DREAM Act, now you're called the DREAM Act student, right? That's not the proper terminology that we should be using. Or because we are Hispanic or Latinos, we are undocumented, right? That's another big misconception. Yes, in the Central Valley, we have a lot of Latinos, we have a lot of Hispanics, maybe in California, and this big misconception that all the Latinos and Hispanics are undocumented. So what do we offer to our students at the Dream Center? So I like to present the Dream Center as a one-stop shop, similar to what Chris had mentioned, where the student comes in and we try to help the student as much as we can. So by the time they leave our office, they already know where to go, then what is the next step, right? But at least we start them with, for example, we help them with academics. Regardless of their major, we help them with selecting their classes, creating the student educational plan. If they're planning to get an associate's degree, they're planning to transfer, or they want to do a certificate, we help them with that. We also have students who are on probation in this qualification. We help them with the process of the steps that they need in order to be enrolled back at Fresno City. Returning students, it happens a lot, right, at our college in general. We have students right now, our office is receiving hundreds of calls. I want to go back to school. I need to schedule an appointment with the counselor. So we help the students in everything that has to do with academics. In regards to the financial assistance, we highly encourage the students all the time that they can apply to the Fresno City College scholarships, right? We work very closely with the financial aid office to help us with the process as well, to help the students apply for the scholarships. Emergency funds, if we are aware of any emergency funds that the students can benefit from, we make sure to make them aware of that. Financially, that's another big thing. Our students, sometimes they lack that information because FAFSA has always been in the back of our minds, right? Whenever they are in high school, or even here, they hear their friends, oh, we have to apply for financial aid and we have to apply for FAFSA. But they forget that our students do not qualify for FAFSA. They have to, we do have financial aid, but it's called the DREAM Act. Okay, the difference between the two is the FAFSA is they receive federal and state funds versus the DREAM Act is only state funds. It's very much limited. However, it's an additional help or additional assistance that they can get. And other resources that we offer at the Dream Center is internships. Like I mentioned before, it is hard for our students to find jobs, right? Related to what they're studying, right? There's nothing wrong with working in the fields. There's nothing wrong with working in construction or babysitting or anything like that, but they want to put in practice what they've been learning in school. So we work with outside agencies that most of them are nonprofit organizations that provide internship opportunities for our students. So they have that exposure potentially to work in the office environment, classroom environment. We work very closely with some, like I said, organizations that provide this internship opportunities. Immigration services is another big one. We have an MOU with the UFW Foundation, which provide immigration services for free. And listen to this, to all students, faculty, and staff, okay? I'll repeat this. UFW provides free immigration services for students, faculty, and staff, okay? So it's not limited to students, but if you happen to going through something that you need immigration services or you have questions, you can schedule an appointment with them. partnership with outside agencies, workshops, and informational sessions. We try to provide and keep the students updated and informed of everything that's going on, whether it be financial aid, but especially when there is election time, our students tend to be very anxious and very worried of what's going to be happening. Therefore, we work very closely either with psych services, depending on what's going on, or other agencies that can come to the Dream Center and provide this informational session so the students are aware of what they need to do or what they need to be informed of. Just a little bit more about the Dream Center services. These are the three main things, I don't know how to put it, that the students always get confused as well as we get confused, right? Like I said, sometimes we use different terminology, and this is very important for our students to know and for you guys as well to know. What is the AB 540? The AB 540 is an affidavit that would allow undocumented students to pay in-state tuition as long as they meet the minimum criteria of the AB 540. This one, I'm missing some information. However, the most important thing is that they have to have 3 years of education in California plus their high school diploma or the equivalent to meet the AB 540. There's some other things that were added, which really benefit our students. So sometimes the students, they get here when there are juniors in high school. So that means that they have only completed 2 years of education in California and they receive their high school diploma. So what happens in that case? If the student will be missing 1 more year, right? So in order for the student to meet the additional year, they have options. So they can go to adult school and complete the equivalent of 1 year of education. And every student is so unique, it's so different. That's why it is important that they are referred to us. But they can complete that additional year that they're missing at the adult school. Or they can come to college and complete that additional year by taking non-credit classes, right? Or they can do a combination of both. So I'm looking at my phone not because I'm checking text or anything like that. It's because I have the picture of the AB 540 here. So like I said, AB 540, to meet the AB 540 or the 3 years of education is have 3 years of attendance in California, high school, or have 3 years of high school or coursework, or 3 years of attendance in California elementary school, California secondary school, or a combination of elementary and secondary, or attended or attained credits of a combination of a high school or adult school and or high school and adult school. It's a little bit confusing, but like I said, as long as you kind of get the idea, you can refer the students to us. And the other criteria or requirement is that they have a high school diploma or the equivalent. DACA. DACA is another one that always students get confused. Sometimes they call and say, I haven't received my DACA and I need to pay for my books. And I'm like, do you mean your Dream Act, your financial aid? So we always have to be reminding the students to use the proper terminology. So DACA is pretty much, it's a work permit and a social card that would allow the student to work here in the States like anyone else, right? So it would allow certain undocumented immigrants to receive a renewable 2-year work permit. And there's some requirements that they have to meet or certain criteria that they will have to meet. Students who have already received DACA, they can renew it every 2 years. There is a fee right now. I know it increased a little bit. Where do I have it? It was in the $500. So every 2 years they have to renew it, and it's $555 if they do it online, if they renew it online, and $605 if they do it via mail. The immigration services that we offer through the UFW Foundation, they help with this, and they have funding to pay for the renewal. Unfortunately, in 2001, a judge in Texas ruled that DACA was illegal, and therefore, students who were ready to apply for the first time for DACA were unable to do that because they were not accepting new applications for DACA. So we are constantly telling the students, as soon as we know that the student is a DACA recipient, we let them know, do not let us expire. Once you let us expire and you wait, let's say 6 months or so, you're going to be considered a new applicant. Therefore, you're not going to be able to apply again until things change, okay? So if you happen to know someone, please remind them that they have to renew their DACA. And the DREAM Act is the financial aid application that our undocumented students will fill out to be able to receive federal funds. So every year we work very closely with the students and with the financial aid office. So we have a financial aid liaison that goes to the Dream Center twice a month to meet with students for an hour. It's a walk-in basis. We post that information on social media, and then they can come in to ask any questions they might have.
Hey, we'll do the video that you want to show.
Okay. I think
Are you able to?
let's see. So I'm going to share this video. It's a very short video of one of our students, actually. And I just want you to see the life of an undocumented student, some of the struggles that sometimes our students have to go through. So hopefully this video works. Give it a try.
Oh, perfect.
About maybe 5 or 6 years old when I crossed here. I remember we took a bus from Tijuana and it dropped us off at this very tall grassy area. And that is where we met our Goyote. And we just started walking through the grass, kept going and going for miles and miles. Within the second day, we were halfway through our trail. My mom's hands and feet got really, really swollen. She could no longer walk. So she decided we were just gonna give up and we're just gonna go back home. One guy stopped in his white truck, I remember. He asked my mom if we had ID, and my mom didn't understand what he was saying, so she just said, yes, we do. She just said yes, and he was like, okay, come on. And on the last checkpoint, because when we got to it, the immigration guys just looked around the truck and they never asked us for ID, they just let us go through. As soon as we came into San Diego, we started seeing all these beautiful houses everywhere that we had never seen before. And that's when my mom said, this is it. I think we made it. My name is Jacqueline Garcia. I am 21 years old, and I am currently attending Fresno City College. It only takes about 40 minutes to get to school. And then I still have to walk a good 10 minutes just to my class. Getting DACA was a little bit hard. It definitely has helped me throughout life. And I'm very grateful, but I am a little terrified about the decision that we're going to be having coming up with the Supreme Court. Whenever I'm feeling down or I have any question that I have, I just go into the Dream Center and they answer all my questions and they try their hardest to help me.
The Dream Center offers services to our students, everything from counseling to emotional support, as far as for all students who are undocumented or come from families who are from mixed status.
Just like today, I came in and I let them know that I'm very sick and I've been dealing with it for the past 2 years, and I couldn't find anybody to direct me to the right place to get help. I just came in and she got me an appointment, and I might just be getting the specialist I need.
I would say the number one goal for our students is that they just want an education. They want a job. They want to pay their taxes. They want a house. They want a car. I mean, I think they just want the American dream.
Who knows? I could have been dead by now if I was still there. I'm a first generation, and yes, I am definitely grateful for the sacrifices my mom has done to give me a better life. Doing all of this for my family. Doing all of this because I want to give back to them. I want to break this stigma of being poor, of being uneducated. And I know that if I continue working hard, pushing every day, not letting the sickness push me back, make me stronger. I know that I will accomplish everything.
How do I move this? How do we stop the screens here? So what do you guys think about the video? So emotional, right? And this video is from, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. But every time I see it, it's the same. Emotional. And it hasn't changed. Unfortunately, the story of this particular student is a story of hundreds of our students, right? Currently at Fresno City, we have about 500 identified undocumented students or AB 540 students. There's other students that have not met the AB 540 who is still not in that number. Students who are asylum refugee, there's not part of those 500 students. So we have a very high number. I think I closed it. We have a very high number of students who are identified as undocumented. So with the story of Kathy, we want to make a change. That's why we want to inform our faculty, our staff, on how can we make these changes so we can make things easier for students like Kathy. There we go. Thank you, Chris.
Of course.
So I just want to share a little bit of information about the demographics that we have with the number of students that we are serving at the Dream Center. I was able to collect some information. So from 2023 to the most recent, we always have more females. I think it's across the board, right? We always have more females going to school, but same here at the Dream Center, we have for the spring of 2024, 253 female students and 168 male students, 10 unknown and 1 non-binary. And this is a question that we have been asked before, like what are the top 10 majors that our Dream students pursue? And it is very interesting because you can see the top one is pre-allied health. A lot of our students want to go into the medical field. So we have to do something for them to be able to continue with this path. As you can see, business administration, teachers, administration of justice. So it's a variety of a variety of things. But these are the top 10 majors that we have within our students. And here, just to give you a little bit of information about the graduation rates and achievement. As you can see, back in 2015, when the Dream Center first started, there was 1, right? But that number has been increasing with the years. And as you can see, in the spring of 2024, we have 50 students graduated. That's not counting the summer. So I think we as a college are doing something good, but I truly believe that this number can definitely be higher, okay? And this one I am very proud of. As you can see, from 2021 to now, the number of visits to the Dream Center has increased. As you can see, in 2021, that's when I first started at the Dream Center as an adjunct counselor. We had about 593 students visiting the Dream Center. Some of these visits were, what is it called? Double? No, not double, like more than, the students were visiting the Dream Center more than once. Yes, 2024, 2025, 86, but we barely started the semester. So I got this information, I believe, within the first week and a half, July, beginning of July. So within a week and a half, we have already seen 86 students at the Dream Center, okay? So how do we keep our students informed of what's going on at the Dream Center? Remember, we have about 500 plus students. So we have social media. We try to be innovative like Chris. So we do have Facebook, we have Instagram. We try to provide all the information that we can to our students through the social media and email, same as Chris. We send an email on a weekly basis to our students just to let them know we are here. These are our office hours. Stop by if you need anything. Of course, they will not open the email that comes from the Dream Center because it's the same one. But, you know, same as Chris, I always tell them, you know my office hours. I send that on a weekly basis. You should be able to know. But anyhow, that's how we communicate with our students. Facebook, Instagram, social media, email, in any way possible that we can. So now that you guys have all this information, do you guys have any questions, concerns? I hope you have, I have installed something on you that you say, I want to stop by the Dream Center and check it out to see if it's like the really nice space that you're talking about. Like I said, that we have an open door policy, so feel free to stop by anytime. We always have snacks for our students so that they feel welcome. So thank you so much. Let me know if you have any questions. Keep monitoring that.
Oh, okay. Nobody's asked questions? No?
Okay.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Last but not least, you guys have I gave you our flyer for the Dream Center. I can send the PDFs. If you would like, you can always email us and then I'll be happy to send this information to you. All right, well, thank
Awesome.
you. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.